So for this afternoon, we're going to talk about how to prevent colds. Some of you have heard this. Prakasit's translated for me for this. He's done it on television, my demonstration of salt water, and sniffed in the nose. So thank you. Oh, it's cold too. That's going to be good. And the salt is over there.
Does this work the same for cold or flus?
Cold and flus. You know, a lot of times we get certain bugs just in the environment around us, and the more we can cleanse our nasopharynx area, the better. So to a point. You don't want to do that all day long, but if you feel like you're starting to get a tickle in your throat, that's the time to do a nasal saline wash. Now, the reason the salt works in the nose and the throat, if you can picture your throat, I don't think I have a picture of the throat there, but your nose is connected to the back of your throat. If you gargle with salt water, you gargle in the throat area, but you don't really get it up into the nasal pharynx area. And that's where it seems like the little chunk of phlegm starts to build up. Because if you do a nasal saline wash, in about 3 or 4 minutes, you spit out a little chunk of stuff out of the back of your throat. It's very fascinating how that builds up. Sometimes just from being in an air-conditioned room at night, the bacteria or the virus are there a lot of times anyway. But it's eating ice cream, it's a sweet, lactose-filled kind of a medium that bacteria and virus like to multiply. It's like a petri dish in the back of your nose. And so my recommendation is, if you do eat ice cream anytime at all, you should always chase it with a little salt. Anything that's sweet, chase it with a little salt. Because the salt, if you can imagine, this is the mucous membrane, and this little chunk of phlegm is starting to grow right there because there's a little bit of lactose and sugar. It's the perfect medium to grow. When you rinse your nose with salt water, it comes down and it starts to pry the edges away because the mucous membranes start weeping when there's salt there. So the fluid comes out and it dislodges the edges of that, and it takes 3 or 4 minutes, and then pretty soon that little phlegm piece, just as you clear your nose and clear your throat, that little bit comes out and you can spit it out. Try not to swallow that first little bunch, because that's where the worst amount of bacteria and virus would be, in that first clump of junk that's in there. So, but then I would rinse again. At least you do it twice in a row, about 10 minutes apart, because you've just cleared that little spot from junk, and then there's still a little bit left where it was attached. It got enough to break it loose. So you rinse it again, and then it cleans all this stuff off, and then you're less likely to get the sore throat or the cold. But if I already have a temperature and already have sneezing and so forth, if I will rinse my nose with salt water about 4 or 5 or even 6 times every 10 minutes for the first hour, almost always the temperature will go away, cold will go away. It's amazing how that stops it. So let's focus on a few things here.
Every 10 minutes?
Yeah, for about 4 to 6 times in the first hour that you feel it coming on, you almost always can prevent a cold. Okay? Not 100%. There are some bugs that are really tough, such as our COVID fellow. But even the COVID, if you start feeling something, I'm pretty sure if you start doing this kind of work, that it will help to eliminate it. So here's some different things. Good hygiene is important. Wash your hands often. Cover your mouth and nose. Sneeze on your sleeve or in a tissue and throw that tissue away. Clean objects often, and avoid sick people. A lot of people forget that last one, to avoid sick people. You see somebody sneezing, you try and go somewhere else. The reason we sneeze is that there's something tickling in your nose or in the back of your throat, usually in your nose. There's some phlegm in there, and it's tickling your nose. Your nose is trying to get rid of it. So go blow your nose, clear your sinuses, do the salt wash, do something that will clean out your sinuses so that you're not sneezing and spreading the bugs to everybody else. Sneeze on your sleeve. It's funny that somebody said, well, that's where I'm doing elbow bumps now that we're not doing high fives and elbow bumps now, because I sneeze right on my elbow, you know. So, so now we, yes, sneeze inside your shirt. Yeah, yeah.
You can just quick go like this,
yeah.
And then it stays with you. On your sleeve, you're going to
outside. Yeah, yeah. So sneezing into your shirt if you unbutton one button. Yeah. Or you sneeze into a tissue that you're going to throw away. If you can get it out of your pocket fast enough. Sometimes it's a real quick sneeze and you can't. All right. Then keep your immune system strong. Avoid chilling with drafts and fans and prolonged moist clothing. Ellen White lost the son from that. He was out playing in the snow and came back and fell asleep and got chilled in a cool environment, even though it was hot when he got there. And he caught pneumonia and died. Minimize sweets. That's real important. And avoid milk and sugar combinations. I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine who some of my buddies, in fact, the guy that introduced Carol and myself, he and his 3 friends, they bet this one girl $100 she could not gain 10 pounds in 1 month. And she was skinny as a rail. She was about 6 foot tall, 5'11", something like that. But she was like 110 pounds. And so they said, we'll give you $100 if you can do that. So she started working on it. So can you imagine what she might use to try and increase her weight?
Just food.
Junk food. Well, she had one specific one, and it was concentrated ice cream, which is a can of Eagle brand condensed sweetened milk. And it's, if you ate it a little by little, it'd be okay. But she ate 1 can a day, and after 1 week, she was hospitalized for pancreatic failure. That's how strong that stuff is. It's milk and it's sugar, but when you put the she was 23 years old.
Oh, wow.
So amazing that your pancreas could go bad that fast.
Did she gain 10 pounds?
No, it only 1 week. She only had 6 cans or 7 cans of that stuff, and her pancreas was out.
Whoa.
So it might have been a week and a half at the most. I know she was just beginning this little trial thing. So don't be crazy about gaining weight, especially if it's compromising with health principles.
Gaining or losing weight quickly is usually...
Yes, that's right.
Did she recover from that?
She did, yeah. But she had to quit eating that junk food, and her friends repented of trying to get her to gain weight. Yeah, and a lot of people like to sleep at night with, especially in tropical country, with no shirt on and a fan going. Especially like an oscillating fan's not quite so bad, but a fan that's going continually, you can get quite chilled from that. And often, even with a t-shirt on, if you get kind of sweaty and you got a fan going, you could catch a cold from that, a chest cold or a sinus cold. So be real careful with fans and too cold of environments. And then eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, especially citrus kinds of things. We know that vitamin C is very important for us. Guava, yeah. Even in citrus, guava, yeah. And they actually taste good.
It's very good in general, for health. Guava leaves are great for when you have the flu.
Guava leaves are great for the flu. How do you make a tea out of them? Make a tea out of guava leaves.
Guava and mango.
Okay.
Mango?
It's the
Leaves?
I read that on the internet, along with guava.
Yeah. Guava and mango leaves for tea. Never heard that one. Yeah, I don't know either one of those, so that's good. I'm so glad you guys are here to fill in all the blanks for all of us. You know, we're here to
Well, when you're in the
share.
jungle, you can't get American herbs. You look on the internet.
That's right.
Internet to see what is it out in the jungles you can use.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, then number 5 is using garlic, onion, ginger, oregano, turmeric. Those the kind of things that are all immune boosters. Then you can drink 8 to 10 glasses of water per day or more when you're sick. The most I've heard of somebody drinking consecutively was the oldest man in the world. They asked him, "What'd you do to get to be 116 years old?" He said, "Well, I think it might be that I always try to drink at least 18 glasses of water a day."
18.
So it didn't kill him. It got him to be the longest living man in the world. So obviously that might be a threshold, but 18 is not going to kill you.
Do you know where he lived?
He's in the United States somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, he just knew that he needed to drink water. We have stopped smoking clinics, and one of the things that they focus is on drinking enough water. And one man came back the second night and he said, "I don't know how you guys do it." He said, "Do what?" "Drink all that water." He said, "Well, that's not that bad. Six to 8 glasses of water a day." And he goes, "I heard you say 68.
Oh, no.
I got to 30 and I couldn't drink anymore."
That was doing good.
Oh, my.
Good thing he
So,
survived.
yeah, good thing you survived. You can change your electrolyte balance and get you sick. All right, so it says take vitamins and minerals and supplements. Certain things are helpful. And then I'll mention a few of those in a minute. Take a small amount of myrrh regularly. I find that myrrh gum, the powder, it's a very bitter herb. Some of these other bitter herbs are very helpful, but myrrh is amazing. And it was used back in Bible days, that when they brought it to Jesus, and myrrh, frankincense, and gold, it was used for embalming people because it doesn't allow bacteria to grow. So the body is preserved. So when you gargle with it and then swallow it, or I've used it for, like, if I've got a sore tooth that's getting an infection, I'll put a little bit of myrrh on my tongue and just let the saliva mix with it and just slosh it around in my mouth for 2 minutes or so and then swallow it. I'll also do that with salt sometimes, just to get it so that it cleanses the tissues around it.
I've got essential oil. How can I?
Myrrh it can be a powder.
I've got.
You got the essential oil. That'd be very concentrated.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know what concentration of that, but what I use is just the tip of a teaspoon of the powder. And I wish I had some to demonstrate. I somehow didn't bring it back from up in another country that we were teaching in. I divided it up so they'd have some, and then the part that I was going to bring, I don't know where it ended up. So, but it's an amazing little herb. I first found out about myrrh from a lady that lived in Virginia. I was having some terrible hay fever. My eyes were swollen, my eyes were dripping, and I could hardly open my eyes sometimes. And she said, "You know, I usually get hay fever this time of the year, and I don't have it this year." And I think maybe the only thing that I can think of is this myrrh. I started taking for my gums, and it's supposed to help with the gum disease. She said, "I've been taking it every day, and I've got my allergies." She said, "Why don't you try it?" So I tried one capsule. Within 20 minutes, my eyes started opening up, my sinuses started opening up, and it was phenomenal. I said, "Man, I gotta get some of this stuff." So every year, it's gotten less and less. My allergy, that was the worst. We were in Washington, D.C. and Virginia, and I literally couldn't drive sometimes. I have to pull over the side of the road, have my wife drive. But that myrrh really helped.
So just like 2 drops.
Yeah.
Just 2 drops.
Oh, you rub it on your throat. Yeah. So I don't know how much you absorb that way. I would put a drop in a little bit of water and gargle with it, and then swallow it. It's raining. So that's a couple. Yeah. Yeah, if it's not too windy, it won't be too bad. So rain was not predicted today. We should have known. So anyway, that's one thing. Exercise regularly and vigorously is very important. And then getting sunshine regularly. Sunshine, you get your vitamin D and helps keep your body strong. We just really need to stimulate everything that can do to get your immune system going. And then positive thinking, peaceful thinking, prayerful thinking, trusting in God, turning everything over to the Lord, and not being stressful about even little problem areas of our lives. Don't get angry, just stay calm, and if you do, apologize, get it over with as quickly as you can. We are human. So how to stop a cold? Prevention is better than a cure. Salt water and nasal wash and gargle. So I'm going to show you, you can use this little nasal saline wash. You can buy these. One's called Ocean. I tend to prefer that one over any of the rest of them just because it doesn't have any preservatives in it. But this is the Walmart brand Equate, and it works pretty good. When we run out of it, then we use this 1 cup of water to 1 teaspoon of salt. That's the recipe. And then you just clean this with soap and water real good, and then fill it up again with a new batch. So every month or so you put new salt and water in there, or whenever you come down with a bug again, and just spray it in your nose. But for me, the spray doesn't work as good unless you use quite a bit of it. I like to just really bathe my nose and my throat. So I'm going to demonstrate what I normally do here. That's okay. It'll warm up in my hand.
So that is the ratio is 1 cup and 1 teaspoon of salt in a cup, and that's what you use.
Yeah. So you'll throw the rest away?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I'm getting a cold, through the night I'll make it, and through the night each time I wake up, I'll do it.
Perfect. Yeah. So what I normally say is to get about, if you have real coarse salt, that's a whole different ballpark, but this fine salt is about 100 grains of salt. So if you want to, either way, just whatever I've got. Sea salt is nice because you have extra micronutrients. And then I just put it in my hand, and if it's cold water, you just stir it with your little finger just a little bit longer. So, yeah, it'll warm it up. Just about, it's probably about a teaspoon of water. If you can see that there. And I just washed my hands so they're clean. You want to be sure that you've got clean hands. Oh, thank you. I've got one in my pocket here. All right, now you want it to be about the same salinity as seawater, not the Dead Sea, and not even the Mediterranean, although Mediterranean's on my limits. Last time I demonstrated, all we had was coarse salt, and it ended up being the Dead Sea. My ratio was not quite right, and I couldn't talk for almost a minute. So this should be just about right. And so what I do is I sniff it in my nose, then pinch my nose, and then let it go down in my throat and swallow it. Or if you're at a sink, you can spit it out. A little salt doesn't hurt us. So goodbye, everybody. It's been nice knowing you.
So you plug your nose so it doesn't come back out?
I plug my nose and then tip my head back. That allows that salt water to go down the back of the throat, and that's where the mucus is going to be helping to dislodge that little plug of phlegm. Also in my sinuses, you can, if your sinuses are plugged up, then you can tip your head to the left and right when you're that way, or even down this way. to the left and right while you've got it in your nose, so kind of work its way into the sinuses. Once in a while, if it's up in the forehead here, you might even tip it way forward just to get it up into the sinuses. But in about 2 or 3 minutes, then everything starts loosening up. If you've ever been to the ocean, been out body surfing, and all of a sudden your nose starts just running a bunch of junk out, you go, where did that come from? And it was in there. But the salt water dislodges it and it cleans it all out. It's amazing, yeah. And the reason you want to be careful with a couple things, and that salt water in your lungs, it also does the same thing. It pools water. So if you get quite a bit of salt water in your lungs, then it will cause the mucus to pull more fluid into your lungs than you wouldn't drown from this little amount. But that's how people drown in salt water much faster than fresh water. Their lungs fill up with a little bit of that salt water, and then it fills up with your own fluids, and then you just drown. So if you ever saved anybody that was in the ocean, you want to get that junk out of their lungs as quick as you can. So you turn them upside down a little bit or on their side and try and get them to cough and breathe the breath in, and then push it out and try and get it out of there. Yeah, so I pinch my nose, tip it up, let it flow down, but that's why I suck it in real slowly and then pinch my nose, and then I let gravity take it the rest of the way. I don't sniff it in till it gets into my throat and in my stomach. I sniff it in so it's in my nose, then I let gravity take it the rest of the way. Okay?
And then you wait 10 minutes to do that again.
Yeah. Or I might even do it again in 2 or 3 minutes. But I usually wait about 5 to 10 minutes. But if I have a fever coming on or sore throat, I'll do it usually 4 times, 10 minutes apart, something like that, 4 to 6 times. And many times it totally goes away, even though you've already got a little bit of a temperature from it. Maxine.
I think this got a bad rap at some point because of the water that they use.
Yes.
But make sure your water is pure.
Yes.
Because that can cause.
Yeah. There was somebody that got a meningitis or something like that from impure water when they did it. So they had salt. The salt will kill a lot of things, but it didn't kill these whatever bugs, and they sniffed it in, got in their sinuses, it migrated into their brain, and they got some kind of a brain disease, and I think they died. So it's not something it's amazing that a little bit of clean water and a little bit of dirty water in that situation is very important to be sure your hand's clean, be sure your water's clean. Okay? But after you do it, most everybody goes, wow, I can breathe so clear now. I mean,
This is really good too. I like
yeah.
I always do this.
It's convenient.
Because I can just put it in my nose and
A little
then just let it go.
nasal saline spray. It's very convenient. Okay? All right. Keep warm, especially at night, and keep your extremities warm. You want to keep your circulation balanced. If your feet are cold, it's a lot more pressure for your heart to have to beat your blood through little small capillaries in your feet and your legs.
I do want to. Sleeping is so very difficult in this moment. It's so hot and miserable.
Right.
Yeah.
Sleep just doesn't come. And I've learned recently to have even coverage as if you have no coverage. That's even. And you don't have to try and keep your feet covered, your legs covered, your arms covered.
So try to be even.
Even coverage.
So just a sheet over you, but all over you, not just over part of you.
If I throw it back, it's like, oh, no, we're gonna have everything even. So just even coverage.
Hey, with a fan.
Sometimes I'll have the fan on, because at first when I sleep, in the middle of the night I'll turn it off.
Yeah,
So
good.
I just can't fall asleep too. So in the middle of the night I'll turn off the fan.
Yeah.
But,
Just get your toes wet, bring them out, put them on.
That's not a good way to avoid a cold. But
If-
in
if-
desperately hot situations,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
Sleep better. Yeah, hot.
And not with a fan though. It's better if you're, or just for a short time.
I don't use the AC all year round because I'll get just as equally cold with AC.
It's nice to pull down the room and then
Yeah.
That's what I do. Cool it down a little bit, but then I have to open the windows so I don't. So when I have to, I will use the AC. But at this point, I'm still using the
Good, thank you for those inputs. And then hot, cold showers. It's amazing how that contrast shower back and forth is very helpful. Here in Thailand, we don't have really cold water, so it's not a problem. But some people feel like they've got to freeze themselves to death on the contrast. Again, it doesn't show any more benefits below 55 degrees. So don't. If it's winter time and it's snowing outside, don't think that you have to turn the cold on 100%. Mix it a little bit. So it's 55 to 75, somewhere in that range. You want it tonic, you want it to be comfortable. And then hot fomentations to the chest and back. That helps too. You can use towels and use a microwave oven, put it in a plastic bag, moisten the towel, and then tuck it under and put it on for 2 minutes in the microwave. Take it out, grab the tips of it, shake it just a little bit, and then put it on for 1 second, then back off for 5 seconds, on for 2 seconds, and then off for 5 seconds. Each time it's dropping 10-15 degrees, so your skin doesn't burn if you do it that way. That's especially effective for muscle cramping and things. Dr. Charles Thomas did a study on that type of hot fomentation and found that with EMG, that the muscles relax better if it's really hot, intense hot for a short period of time like that, as opposed to hot packs that are just kind of gradually hot and stay hot for a long time. So he would recommend doing it that way. So what I do is I take my towel and I open it up so it's 2 thickness, and then I take water from the tap and I'll just sprinkle it over it on the tap and sprinkle it over it on the tap, sprinkle it over it, just cupping my hand so it's getting it mixed over here. Then I'll turn it over and do a little bit more on the other side, a little more in the middle, a little more on the other side, and then I fold it up and then I wring it. Now no water should come out of it. It's just sprinkling. Then I'll just dispersing the fluid a little bit, just making it more even, and just kind of twist it like that. And then I put it in a plastic bag, fold it up, ready to get out. Now, when you go to open it up, you want to be sure not to open it all the way because most of your steam will come out. So then I would put it in the plastic bag, and this is a little too small. Never mind. Here. So I like to use a bag that's crinkly. If the bag is too soft, too quiet, it's rubbery. It's not this hard plastic kind. So the Walmart bags, the certain bags that are real crinkly, those seem to they work better.
Take the heat better.
They do, they don't melt. Every once in a while, if you microwave something that's quiet, it'll just start melting on there. You don't want that. Okay, so then I'll open up the bag and take out, I'll grab the tips of it. A lot of times you have to flick the end where you're going to pick up, and then you take it out and shake it just a little bit, and then put it on.
shirt should be off.
Yeah, so if I'm doing on my chest for this cold, then I'll put it on my chest 1 second, and then back off again. And then 2 seconds, 1, 2, and then back off again for 5 seconds. And then 1, 2, 3, and then back off again. Usually we do that 5 times. So we do it 1, 2, 3, 4, add 1 second each time, and then off again.
Same amount of seconds off? Or
No, 5 seconds between each one. And then this time, the 5th time, usually you can leave it. It's down to about 125 degrees, and then you can use it. And then we use the same bag. It's got big enough bag, then you can cover it up with the plastic bag, and that that helps to hold the steam in. Okay?
Do that with regular, I mean, I do my towel in the pot, in the bowl.
You can do the same way with that. Yeah. Yeah, or you can use a rice cooker, rice steamer, and just moisten it a little bit first again, and then put it in the steamer. Leave it for about 10 minutes steaming, and that should be plenty hot enough.
How would it work if, how you sprinkle a little bit of water and you put it in a plastic bag and you put it under solar power, the solar sun, how would that?
Yeah, wouldn't get quite hot enough. No, it would be probably at the most you get it to is maybe 135, 140. Unless you had mirrors and different things to concentrate it.
In the jungle you don't have microwaves, so I don't like all that water mess. I don't. Because
yeah, when you dip it in hot water and you wring it out, it's kind of hard to get it all wrung out, and then it cools pretty fast too. So the steam is quick. As soon as it stops being hot, then you take it off, put it back in the steamer, and then you rub ice water with a washcloth over the chest, rub it real good, and then you can do the same thing on the back. So that's yeah, you cool it off in between, and then you take it out the steam again, do it all over again. Do it 3 times at least.
And then rest.
Yeah, and then rest.
So once you leave it on, you leave it on how many minutes?
About 4 or 5 minutes. They'll let you know. He said, "Well, it's not hot anymore," and it doesn't stay.
The microwave doesn't stay hot very long.
That's true. Neither does this one. No, the steam, but the microwave's a little quicker to dissipate.
Yes, it does stay hot.
Yeah, because you've got more water in there.
I got like 15 minutes. Yeah, you have to do lots of packing first.
Yeah, put a towel on.
Because it's not as hot as it is in hot water.
The hot water will burn you. Steam will too if you're not careful. But
This is a little more like you just do it. The brief hot is really what's important.
So if you do it the hot boiling method or the steamer, then you may want to let it cool off for a minute before you do the 1 minute.
yes.
Between you and that.
Okay. And then steam bath or steam inhalation with pine. You can put pine needles or cedar branches or eucalyptus oil. We don't recommend Vicks Vapor Rub to put in there because its foundation is made with oil. It's a petroleum product, not oil, but petroleum, and then you inhale that vapor, gets down into your lungs too. So that's not healthy for your lungs. One thing about steam baths, though, it's better that if you have a cold, that you don't go to a public steam bath, because then the other people you're in there coughing and stuff, even though it's steamy, somebody's going to be following you in there, and they may pick up your bad bug that you've got. So do your own at home. Make a steam. You can take a towel and put over top of a kettle of water, and just direct the steam into your nose and put it over your head. And just breathe it for 10 minutes or so. It'll open up your sinuses, and it'll help that way. Okay. Also, oregano is quite helpful. If you've ever tasted just an oregano, just a leaf of oregano, it's powerful.
So I've got essential oil again. So
Oh, that's even more powerful.
Take essential oils internally.
Depends on the
But it's good to dilute that one. I've got a friend.
like if I'm cooking, I'll just put like a drop in the food.
Yeah.
You can make it for tea, oregano tea, maybe like
Yeah. So, or you can take a few oregano leaves and just put it in. We've got oregano growing in our garden, so we just pick off a few and we can just make up a little tea with that. But if you chew on it, oregano. If you chew on it, boy, it's powerful. It'll clear your sinuses and sore throat. You'll notice it's very helpful. You can put the Vicks or mentholated rub on your chest, but just don't do the steam with that. And then avoid all sweets and heavy foods, like we talked about. Honey is for a cough. They did a study of all the different cough medicines, and they still found that honey was better than all the different cough medicines.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that on NPR one time. They said, "You won't believe this, but," and then they went and told about just a little bit of honey. It doesn't take much, but do it several times. Just let it coat your throat a little bit. Helps to get rid of that cough.
Ellen White
But-
talks about mixing honey and eucalyptus.
Honey and eucalyptus oil and a little lemon. Yeah, it's quite helpful.
Eliminating.
I've been making the cough syrup where you chop the onions and then just put the honey when it comes to it's syrup and you just use it.
What's her name? Barbara. Yeah.
Honey and onions.
So you leave it in to kind of absorb the onion
Like overnight.
flavor overnight.
No, in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
The onions are settled out. Raw onions. Chop up the raw onions and then just do a layer. So a layer of raw onions, tablespoon of honey, another layer of onions, tablespoon of honey. And I'll start it at a demonstration, then halfway through my demonstration, it's good to go. You know, everybody can get a little spoon and taste the honey syrup.
It draws it out of the onion.
Yeah,
But
it
I
takes the water out.
if I remember, she said
Nice.
the Lord needs those I think it's 2 hours, but if we stay in the jar for 2 hours before you give it. As I
That
said,
probably would get maybe more of it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
watch the demonstration. As soon as
Oh, I
it's
see.
syrupy enough, they
Demonstration,
those spoons and
I don't know. For clarification, they say to always use plastic spoons with honey. Is that important?
they say like the honey
No, never heard that.
interacts with the
Metal, really?
or something. So I
can imagine
recently
it's
I've
possible.
just used plastic spoons.
Good.
So,
Okay.
Have you heard of any differences raw honey versus?
Just local honey. Most people say, you know, if you have allergies and things, that the local honey seems to be better because it's got picking up nectar from the different flowers and things that people are allergic to. And then rocket fuel. Some of you know what that is. It's quite a concoction. Here's the blend of rocket fuel. It's you blend up 2 squeezed lemons or half a cup of lemon juice, 1 inch of fresh ginger, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, 1/4 of an onion, 2 tablespoons of honey, a pinch of cayenne pepper, and a quart of hot water. And then drink freely. So you blend all that up, and it's powerful. It's real powerful, but it's very helpful. It's amazing. Okay, so 2 lemons, 1 inch of fresh ginger, so that'd be about the size of your thumb, about 1 inch piece of ginger, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, 1/4 of an onion, 2 tablespoons of honey, a pinch of cayenne, and not a ton of cayenne, just a pinch of cayenne, just enough to give it a little burn.
How many spoons of honey?
Huh?
How many spoons of honey?
2 tablespoons of honey, and then a quart of hot water.
if you don't like
And
it,
just drink it little by little. You should try and finish it all within about an hour. But
My boys don't like it. And they
yeah,
say, "Oh, no, I'm well, I'm fine."
hey, sometimes it cures them real quick.
I would put a little bit more honey in those, and that made it better.
Yeah,
It's actually not bad. I like it.
yeah, it's addictive almost.
Quite.
I use Barbara O'Neill's flu bomb, she calls it.
Flu what?
Flu bomb.
Bob?
Flu bomb.
Bomb?
B-O-M-B.
Yeah,
It's probably also ginger.
similar.
Garlic is also very antibacterial. You know, Dr. Agatha Fresh said that if you have boiling water and you drop the garlic in there, it's just as effective as the heat water.
But it takes all that.
Keep your friends that way.
Yeah, you can keep your friends that way. So just boil water, turn it off, and then put the cloves of garlic in there. Wait about 15 minutes or so. It kind of cooks it.
Just steep the onions in with boiled water.
If you blend garlic in lemon juice, it takes the
Enough.
kick out of it.
Just get
It's
enough.
not as stinging, but I think it's still be smelling.
I don't know. Maybe.
But Dr. Agatha said that
I eat a
that's
whole
still
bowl of garlic. If I
Really?
put it in a blender with 2 or 3 limes,
What about your
it's
breath?
amazing. Huh?
What about your breath?
I haven't had anybody complain about garlic. I can't
Overall,
smell it on
garlic
myself.
is thick sometimes. Same.
good.
So, garlic and boiling.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can really handle
Just
taking
drop it in boiling water
raw
and then
garlic.
And your garlic, is that
And
onion?
how long do you leave it in?
Yes, 1/4 of an onion. 2 tablespoons of honey, and then a pinch of cayenne and a quart of water. All right? Disease never comes without a cause. So usually you can track back why you're feeling sick. You were at a party and ate a bunch of ice cream, or you didn't sleep enough. I used to get tonsillitis all the time. And it was because I'd stay up late and eat junk food trying to study for a test. The first test I'd make through okay, and then the second one I'd have tonsillitis and couldn't go to school, and I finally had to have my tonsils out in college. So that's a few simple things for colds. Any other questions about that?
I have many
In the dorm?
or because
Yeah.
in the throat all the time. How can we?
I would find out this is in the dorm. There are guys that have mucus in their throat all the time, like a nasal drip. Sometimes they have an allergy to something. The things you probably want to eliminate are dairy products, number one. So no milk, ice cream, yogurt, things that cheese is the biggest one. Eliminate that and see if that doesn't get rid of it.
I'm thinking on the border, they don't have enough water. That's all.
For a long time.
He's saying he has this.
Many years?
Yes.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah. So,
It's like a habit that I.
oh, you're talking about for yourself? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should do saltwater sniffs very regularly. Try to
Yeah, he's demonstrated it before, so he knows how to do it. Just not too much salt. You don't want the Dead Sea, you only want the ocean flavor. So it doesn't burn, it should not burn. Okay? And then one other thing that I was watching a video of a naturopathic doctor fellow, and he said he had one lady came into his office. She had this kind of stuffy sinuses, really plugged up, inflamed, infected sinuses. She'd been going to doctors for years for that. And he said, well, try this. And he blended up some garlic, onion, cayenne pepper with water and had her sniff just a little bit in her nose.
Ooh, that's hot.
And he said just a little bit. So it was dilute, fresh garlic and onion. And he did that, he had her do that 3 times. So she'd blow her nose, and then he'd have her sniff in just a little bit more, but it wasn't a lot, just a little bit. But within 30 minutes, he went to another room and he heard her in there swearing. And so he came back in and he said, what's the matter, ma'am? He said, I am so sick and tired of doctors. They've been trying to get me well, get my sinuses clear for 2 or 3 years, and you did it in 30 minutes. I am angry at those guys. So, but everything just opened up. She was amazed. So, you know, we drink that stuff, but if you want to try the rocket fuel in the nose, it's gonna be pretty powerful. So, yes, Mike. Yeah, but very dilute. You wouldn't do it like this.
What happens if you make a mistake and you use the saline wash and it has too much salt? Does it burn?
It doesn't hurt anything. I haven't found it. Just like I said, I couldn't talk for a minute, but other than that, it went away. It definitely clears your sinuses just as well, and it probably kills bacteria and virus better.
So like even this, I can just do it in my throat.
Yeah. But you can test it to see if it tastes like ocean water, then you know it's about right. If it's really salty, like soy sauce, you know it's way too much and you want to dilute it down.
So I wasn't sure the concentration ratio, so I just take a little bottle and I just put some salt in there.
Yep.
It's water and sugar and use that, but I don't know if it's too much, it's nice it burns.
If it burns, it's a little strong, a little too strong.
Yeah, okay.
And you can also just take salt in your hand, lick it, that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that sometimes. Just be sure your hand's clean.
Yeah.
Okay? So boosting your immune system is very important. Just we got to stay strong, and we got to be careful of all the viruses that are out there, especially nowadays. Wearing a mask, it's kind of debatable. Some people say it doesn't help much. It only helps if somebody's got the disease, that they don't give it to you. But right now in the United States, my brother-in-law just sent a message that he's wearing a N94 mask with another mask over it when he's working with his patients in the emergency room, and also a face shield. I mean, that's like, whoa. And he's very hot in there, so they don't want to get it. He had his first patient yesterday or day before that has the coronavirus. So he takes his clothes off out and by the wash machine, and comes in the house, takes a shower, because his wife's got some other problems health-wise, and she does not need to be getting this bug. So it's dangerous to be a doctor nowadays. That's one of the dangers, and they go through school for so many years and know so much, and then to be knocked out by a virus, that's a shame. That's just terrible. Or a nurse, yeah. We were reading that the medical personnel are dying at a higher rate than the normal people. A normal ratio of this coronavirus is about 2 to 3%. In Italy, it's about 7%. With the medical workers, it's over 14% that are dying from this. If they get it, because they're overworked, not getting enough sleep, and they're overexposed. They're around a lot more of that virus. People are coughing, and in a room with multiple patients. They just don't have enough room for all these patients. So some of them are in the hallways. Okay.
80 and older, they just let you die.
Yeah.
They go to line there.
Yeah, well, some places it was 65 and over.
Yeah, but they're talking about that.
Only have
Yeah.